The best kind of girlfriends are women who aggressively believe in each other, defend each other, and think the other deserves the world.
Sometimes realize there's no way.
You have tuned into Breaking the Mask of Depression with your host, Diva with Depression.
You know, there are many things that have broken me over the years, and I will say out loud that nothing that you three have ever done has broken me, and nothing that you have added to me has broken me. So, yeah. So the four of us don't start crying, and we'll move on. Well, you already discussed the communication style. I want to give you guys a chance. If you were talking to someone else and say you were talking to one of your friends that had another friend or family member with mental illness, what advice would you give them as far as communication is concerned? How would you go about communicating with them? G, we'll start with you.
I don't sugarcoat or it all. See, we have a different dynamics because since you and I are friends, so I guess it will vary what type of relationship the person has with the next person on how to communicate. I think the people should just be authentic.
Right.
Just because, as Michelle was saying, it's like you want to hold things back, but I think people should if someone has mental illness, that they shouldn't sugarcoat anything. They should just be blunt and just, that would be an advice on the communication.
Yeah.
Yeah. It varies on the dynamic of the relationship because a parenting will be different. A child, you'll handle differently. Two sisters or a sister and brother will handle differently. Or if your spouse has mental illness, it will be handled differently. So it all depends on the dynamic of the relationship. But regardless of the dynamic of the relationship, I think people should just be honest, whether it's presented gingerly, or not, just to be honest, not to be cruel or anything. I think you shouldn't talk to anybody cruel. Whether someone with mental illness or not, but with communication, I think it should be listening to with the person that has mental illness. It should be communication takes two. Listening and hearing and understanding. So if I were to give advice, make sure you understand with the person that has mental illness. Don't shut them out. They need to be heard as well. Yeah.
What about you, Twinster?
Basically, it's kind of the same thing that you were saying. It depends on the relationship. If you're talking about a friend, I think you were saying a friend to a friend. If that is a close friend of yours, the honesty, if you see them spiraling, be very honest about what you see, be very open about what you see, and talk with them. Make sure that you don't just, like she said, don't just talk, listen to. But sometimes depending on the type of mental illness, if you're talking somebody that's in a really, really bad spot, it might be time for you to also push them to seek the professional help that they may need, and not just push them to do it, but help them find professional help that they may need. But first and foremost, yeah, the honesty is honesty and openness is the best thing when communicating with someone about their mental health, and getting help for it as well.
What about you, sis?
That's true. I do have a friend. I was just with her yesterday, and she has counseling, but her situation is also a spousal thing, narcissism. So I have very low tolerance for narcissistic situations. Um, it's to the point now where yesterday I had to be cruel. I had to be cruel because you give them referrals, you give them options, you give them advice. People will listen to what they want to listen to, what they
Yeah.
want to take. But if you're not helping the situation, I, it becomes toxic for you too, right? So at my age, because all of my friends are younger than me, you know, um, so they look for me to give them guidance or advice, or I can't tell you what to do, basically. But if I'm seeing that you're getting worse, right, and you're not doing anything to change the situation, I can't control that. It's like I try to tell people when they ask my opinion. Sometimes they don't, but um, I'm not one for just sitting there listening, and like I have to like say something, um, but in a positive way. Like I don't like bash them, but when it gets to where it's overwhelming for me, where it's toxic coming into my life, I have to like she got it yesterday. Unfortunately, she got it. Like I had to give it to her hard. And then she hugged me and said, Michelle, you're right. Like I said, how many times you're gonna keep telling me the same thing and you're not doing anything to help yourself? It's just gonna get worse. And I don't want to see you in that position. I don't want to see you in a mental institution, depressed, or I don't want to see you. You have to get help. And she doesn't have um anybody really. Her parents are deceased, and I try to. I've two girlfriends that are like that, and like I said, they are younger. They're still learning, but I can't really I can't fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they haven't experienced enough to realize that, or they're not the confidence in them in themselves is so low that they don't even know how to help themselves. So I see where it's going. I see where it's going with them. I really do. And I'm like, I don't want to see you in that position. You're a beautiful person. You're a great
You're a
mother.
fixer.
And you just need, I'm not telling you to leave your situation. I'm telling you need a break before you have
Yeah.
a breakdown,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, counseling sometimes is not enough for people. It's your environment that's really keeping you down.
Yeah.
And if you're in a place, and you know this 100%, Donna, when
Yeah.
you're in a situation that's making you sick, it's just going to get worse over time.
It is. It is.
And it gets out of control where you don't know how to fix it. And you've been there. You've been there. You don't know how to fix it. So with me, I get out of Dodge quick. Like I just have low tolerance for someone that's going to make me sick, right? So my son's father, right? It started with mental abuse, and I don't know if when I was in Oklahoma,
Yeah.
and I was a very physical person. Like if I got mad at somebody, I was very physical, right? When you're hurting me, you're gonna get hurt back. So I took myself out of that situation because the person was one of us was gonna leave in a casket and the other one in handcuffs. And I didn't want to be in a situation like that. So my girlfriends that are in that situation, they have mental illness because of that. And they choose to stay in that mental abuse. And it's
Yeah.
like you gotta figure out what do I tell people I got 20 summers left and I ain't wasting it on dumb shit.
That part.
We need T-shirts to say that.
I want to say, I don't think you're being cruel. I feel that you just direct. That is not cruel. Because cruel, you want to harm. When you're around someone that's toxic, that's caring, you're just being direct, like, listen,
Yeah.
get it together. I don't call that cruelty. Because there's no care. There's no care with cruelty.
Right.
And
You're correct.
The one thing that, the one thing that I
Fuck
appreciate.
my phone is sorry. My battery's dying.
The one thing that I appreciate with you guys, and it's also something that I share with other people, is you have to, like Gigi said, you have to listen, and don't listen to fix, don't listen to react, listen to hear what the person is saying. And when you have a sisterhood like we do, you listen to what they're not saying. Like Michelle said that she knows when the texts are off. Ms. Jill, if she doesn't answer me, and Sister, we just had this conversation about how you had to, bring in enforcements and text Tony to find out what was going on. So, but you were hearing what I wasn't saying. And I think that a lot of people listen to say, oh, well, do this, well, to give advice or to try to fix it.
Right.
And you can't fix me. Like my baby brother just said that, as a matter of fact, a couple of hours ago, like, well, what can I do? And Twister, you say this to me all the time. What can I do? That there's nothing that you can do to fix it. It's not going anywhere. But just,
and when I say what can I do, it's not to fix
I know.
Fix everything,
No, I know.
Okay.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. But that's so, and that's the flip side of it is I appreciate the three of you, because if I say I'm not, in a good place, or, I'm just here, the next answer is always, is there anything that I can do? Is there anything that you need? And that's it. Like, you're not telling me, oh, you better do this. Oh, you better do that. You're just saying, what do you need from me to get through this day? What do you need from me to get through this hour? And that's a huge part. That's a huge part of friendship in general. But with me being in the darkness, the three of you, the light that you bring to my everyday situation, it helps me. And we're not even going to get into judgment, So one of the things that I wrote down, and I didn't send this to you guys because I was looking at something on my Pinterest, was for friends, don't put yourself in the position where you become a therapist. So, like Twinster, we were talking the other day about how my answer is the same all the time. Like, I'm just in a shitty place, and I'm not gonna, when you say, Twinny, how are you doing today? I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm in a shitty place, blah, 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 blah. When Ms. G, if you text me and say, how's it going today? Oh, it's okay, because I don't want to be the one that's always bringing everybody down, when you guys ask me how I'm doing, because then I feel like it'll get to a point where I was like, well, shit, here we go again, and so that was the advice that I would give as far as friends are concerned. Don't become the therapist, because there are professionals out there that will be able to give you professional feedback and listen professionally. Whereas your girlfriends and your sisters and your homeboys, they're listening, and they may have a little piece of advice here and there, but you don't want to overburden them with,
I feel our friendship is very therapeutic. We solve,
but you know what I mean? Like, you're not so.
But they have the shade tree mechanic, and we got the sister friend therapy. Absolutely.
You have to have. Everybody has that, but I love that. Well, what do you think? Because a lot of times I said, that person had no friends, didn't see. Like, how did how did he or she? There was no friends involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
didn't
sometimes
consult with
it's
their
funny. It's like
friends.
there's no pull up buddy. There's nobody. There's no
Yeah,
pull up when
like
there's somebody say, don't go out like that. Don't put
exactly.
that on
I
and
would
go
want
outside.
someone to say, what do you think about this? And give me some honest feedback, because
Honest
sometimes we're
feedback.
in a
Yeah.
situation and we don't even see, especially with relationships.
Oh
People
yeah.
go into relationships, they don't say anything, and they ignore the red flags. I want someone to say, you know what? Think about this before you pursue something. I need to have that, because at this old age, I don't want to make any mistakes. Like, we're going to make them, but avoid. You got to learn. That's where wisdom takes place.
Yeah.
Like, let's not go down this dark path. And so,
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree
Yeah,
with
and
that.
that's where
yeah,
that circle comes in, because just like a team, somebody's good at one thing, somebody else
Yeah.
is good at something else, somebody
Right.
else is good
Exactly.
at something else, and
exactly.
it makes it work. So that's
Yeah.
where that friendship circle absolutely comes in to
Exactly.
play
And that
every
is,
time.
yes, and that is another key thing that I always talk about with you guys, and with Gina. Like, you guys all had separate things that you specialize in. Like, you're all
Right.
amazing women, but there's certain things. Like, I know that if I text Shell or call Shell and I'm like, blah 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 blah, blah, like who doesn't understand my mother, more than Michelle? So I
Mm.
can call her and, say something about my mom's situation, and, she's going to just lay it out right there. So everybody has a different quality that, um,
Right.
you know how I describe it? You know how you say, if you want to look for one man that has all of your qualities, right? And so, so okay, well, that's another show. But you guys have qualities that all make up like my um one soul sisters, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, we all. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you all bring something to it,
Yeah.
and
It's a combination of stuff. Yeah.
it
And I
is, it
feel that way
is.
with a lot of friends too, because I would say the past 3 years I started meeting new people, and I was like, I don't have time to be figuring people out.
Yeah.
You
Isn't
know,
it a lot?
I don't want to waste my energy. Like, if I've known
It's
this
a
person
lot.
for 45 years, I know exactly what they're gonna do, what they're gonna say,
Right,
how they're gonna act,
right.
right? So
Yeah.
I just don't
Yeah.
want to figure people out anymore. Like, I don't have
Yeah.
that kind
Mm-mm.
of time. I don't
That
have that kind
energy at
of energy.
all.
Like, one
Mm-mm.
one friend, Donna knows, this girl, I'm in an organization, and I'm like, could you just let me know what your personality is today so I can know how to deal with you? Because I can't. So she, we were at an event. She walks up to my husband. She's like, me and Michelle, we fight all the time, but we're like sisters. I was like, my sisters don't do that kind of shit, you know? So I'm like, one minute you cool, the next minute you're not cool. I was with her yesterday. We were cool all day, and at the end of the day, she did some dumb shit. So I was like, and then she called me because she knew she did it, because she was like, "Oh, Michelle she gonna curse me out." So she's learning, right? So I was like, "Wow, that was quick." She picked it up real quick before the end of the night, because she didn't want to smoke. So
Well, everybody
I was
knows
like,
that you gonna
she is
curse them
picking
out.
up. Yeah, she's picking up. So I was like, you know what? She didn't realize, like, she's a nice girl. It's just sometimes I'm like, if I don't do what she want me to do or be on her side, if I don't feel it, I'm not doing it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So don't expect me to have your back if I don't feel like I'm, I'm not gonna do it.
One,
Like, I
one of
just
the
don't have the time to figure people out.
Yeah, it's exhausting. I don't have that.
It
I don't
is.
have. I always say my medication has limits. And I always tell you guys, I'm like, personality number 6 is acting up today. Just forgive her, please. Just forgive her. you know. Um,
Make no
one
apology.
I do.
Yeah.
One of the things, and I know that we'll have to wrap up in a minute. One of the things that I notice about young women, not even just young women, young people in general today, they have no sense of loyalty, no sense of
Mm.
friendship, camaraderie. Like a simple thing, like when we go out, we came together, we're leaving together. I don't care what goes on in between, but we leaving together, you know, like, and
Yeah.
it drives me nuts. And having two girls, and I see how their friendship circles work. What
Mm.
and
What
just take a minute. Just take a minute, because this is adding on, but it does contribute to, because I talk to my daughters, and it's like, well, I don't have friends for this. I don't have friends for that. My friends are not there for me. What do you think is missing in the friendships that our younger generation, and what's going on?
you got to think about that. Really,
It's,
you
I
follow a
think,
stupid
oh, go
kid
ahead.
home. You follow a stupid kid home. A stupid parent going to answer the door. It's
Okay.
parenting.
Yeah.
They didn't
I'll
teach.
agree with
That's true.
Michelle. No, also social media really impact the dynamics of
Those
socialization.
together.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
Yes,
you know, if you
yes,
have a social event and if you didn't grow up, a lot of people, okay, first of all, families are a lot smaller,
Yeah.
you know, so
yes,
you learned how to get along when you came from a family of three and more.
Yeah.
Most people have one child, you know, that's the, you know, and that's it. And a lot of times the child might be isolated, or the parent is so afraid, or the parent themselves doesn't have any friends. So you have a
Right.
parent that doesn't have any friends, or not, or move to a location where they don't belong to a religious affiliation or an organization, sports, dance, you
Right.
know, any other activity. How would your child be able to socialize? And then you have people go homeschool, private school,
Mm-hmm.
they don't
Mm-hmm.
engage. So
Yeah.
that the video games that would ruin socialization, because you go somewhere and I'm mimicking, you know, the whole time,
Yeah.
the entire, you see dates, young people, selfies,
Yeah.
like
They're not
the
involved in
entire
anything.
time. You know,
Right.
I spend my time with you. Can we put the phone down so we can talk? You know,
Yeah.
that is a combination of things. So these kids don't know how to date. They
Yeah.
don't know how, you know, they were not forced to get, and everybody's a winner. Nobody's a loser, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
everyone
yes.
gets a prize,
Everybody
whether
gets
you
it.
participated or not. So
Yeah.
it's from the parenting to social media to the video games, we have lost the art of socialization,
Yeah.
you know.
Twins, what do you think, Twinster?
Absolutely, all of that is tied together. And then when you, like you said, with the parenting, you have these parents who they say, "Well, I spend time with my child. I have my baby. Me and my baby, we do this and we do that. And me and my child, and me, oh, I go get my son." Da, 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 da. And then the whole time they're trying to catch the perfect moment for Instagram or the
Yeah.
perfect moment for to
Yeah.
tweet or whatever it is. Look, I don't even do social media, so I can't even tell you what it is anymore. But I mean, that's what I see. I hear the guy that does Malak. That's what he talks about his wife. That's her focus every single time they are doing something with the children. It's the camera is up. It's so ingenuine, and it's not like it's not like these parents are spending time to teach their children anything of value. It
Yeah.
is the value is placed on materialistic things and being, and I trust me when I tell you, I am one that is all for empowering women. I am very much for that. Start young. Start very young when they are in the crib. Before you think they can understand, you tell them, tell those young girls how powerful that they are. But on the
Mm-hmm.
flip side, make sure they have an education and they're doing more than just talking about how strong they are.
Right.
And I'm a boss bitch and this and that. I don't want you to be able to recite WAP back to me. Please recite a
Right.
poem or read a book or address an envelope. How about using punctuation and knowing the difference between your and your? How about doing some of these
Right.
basic things
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that we have lost because our children are following our lead, and our
Yeah.
children are following the leads of those who are in school as well. And all that is going on is just a big mass of dummies and I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth. I've now I have watched some of the board, looked at Board Panda, and saw some of the teachers talking about what these students are doing in school these days, and how they're having to teach a seventh grader how to form a sentence.
Mm.
That infuriates me. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot believe what is going on in school, and it's scary for what will come out with a
Right.
degree. Who's going to come out of there with a degree, and they're going
Yeah.
to be out in the world doing what?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so, all of that, I believe, plays a big factor in mental health. And when you see the perfection through filters, and that's all you focus on, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, "That's not me, though."
Mm.
How much are these girls and these boys internalizing about themselves and not expressing to others because it's not going to look good to social media or to their boys or to their girls, and they're not getting the help that they need because once again we're going to go back to the parents who have to go back to their parents and generation after generation after generation
Right.
who didn't get that help, who
Yeah.
didn't take the time to address these things that most people still
Right.
don't address today. They will put on a song and have them dance before a camera before they sit down and talk about their feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's
Well,
not good. And then they don't know how to interact with each other because of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I give examples when G, if she's in front of my girls, it's always, "Hey, beautiful." Michelle, when Tony was doing hair school or whatever, she's there teaching her how to do different hair or whatever. Twinster is always, inquiring about their mental health issues and giving advice on different things like that. And always, you guys have always you've been the best aunties in the world, if I must say so myself. Auntie's godmommy,
Yep.
because you've always encouraged my kids and vice versa. Like, like our families, like, gee, your dad, as soon as he sees the kids, you know, we're on a conversation about education. I learned about picking out couches at Macy's from Mama Sweeney. you know,
Right. That's right.
it's just
Oh,
it's and I think that that's part of what's missing. Also, our families are not interacting with each other the way they used to. You're sort of scared to tell anybody about their children nowadays. Like
hmm
Everybody, yeah. What happened
everybody.
to what happened to the Sunday dinners? I'm just,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
And
So
I'll say this really quick. I know you have to wrap up, but you're
yeah.
right. I had to say to my own family at one of the last family gatherings, um, it's technically my generation. I have a very small family, and it's technically my generation that's getting together. I'm on the very young end, whereas you have others who are 20 years older than me, and we're all in the same generation. And I've said to them time and time again, I love you all. I didn't grow up with any of you. We don't even live in the same state now, but we do try to keep in touch better than before. But where are your children? Where are your children and where are your children's children? You're not bringing anybody up behind you. And if
right.
you leave all these people behind you, what are you doing? You
Yeah.
Right.
can't leave people behind. You
Yeah.
have to bring this family. You have to bring this family thing forward. And with everybody kind of spreading out and moving further and further apart, and it's like it's getting worse instead of getting better sometimes, and that is pretty scary. And that's coming from somebody who will say in a heartbeat, "Look, I love my family, but I don't give a fuck in a minute. I love them, but I'm telling you, they get on my nerves." And it's a very small family, so
Yeah.
I mean that's coming from somebody that has hardly any family around. I know
Hmm.
how important it is,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's
We're
not
having a
there
hard
anymore.
time too with planning a family reunion, and none of our kids really know each other, and none of
Right.
their kids. So
Right.
that's a
Mm.
whole nother
I
that's
know.
another show. Because
Another
it
show, girl.
but I wanted
But
to
to
share.
tie it into this, that's why I'm happy that you have us and I have you. I can speak for me. I'm happy that you are part of our family because Roger doesn't have any aunties. You are his auntie.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
baby.
You
That's my
know.
baby.
No, that's right.
I asked that last question because I wanted to stress how important, not just for the mental illness aspect of it, but just the friendship aspect of it. If you feel like you're all alone in the world, that just adds to it. You know, like if you are at the point where you are thinking about taking your life and you don't have anybody to text, you don't have anybody to call, you don't have any family or friends, you really are like asked out. And I am blessed because I happen to have, you know, an amazing support system in you ladies. Um, you know, I can go on for days. You guys already know I can go on for days. You know, but just the way that you have supported me throughout the years, with the mental illness, with the Diva with Depression, with the podcast. Like, you guys are my support system. You guys make sure that you tell me every single day or at least twice or three times a week that there's nothing that I can't do. You're on the board. You're my CEOs and my VP and everything. But you keep me going. You keep me going. And that's also, you know, my angel sister, the same thing. You know, I really, really hit the jackpot with you sisters. So thank you so much for
Thank you for having us, and also this one added is I think it's important when people who have mental illness to don't isolate themselves. I think a lot of times people are meant to isolate themselves. They feel they know that they're going through things that most people wouldn't understand. So I am very proud of you that you don't isolate yourself completely, because that can happen. Sometimes people feel really dark and, you know, just shut everything out. And that's why I said you have a resilience built inside of you where even though you may be not letting each of us know what's going on, you still find some way to communicate. I'm okay. Because I'm going to keep going, you know, because I got stories forever. So, you know, I like to engage, you know, so that is me. So, but you could like shut me off, but you haven't done that, you know? So it goes, let's say it goes both ways. It goes both ways. And so I am proud that you are doing the podcast and you're making strides in mental health. Because, you know, I don't have an issue to tell anybody. You know, my girlfriend Donna, she's an advocate for mental health. You know, reach out to her. She has a blog, a website that you can go to, because people are afraid to. So the more that we talk about it, especially in our community, you know, usually we have a family, we put them in a back room and just left them in there and we just figure it out. But no,
Right.
yeah, no more, and no more in the back room.
exactly out the basement.
Out the
Yeah.
basement. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
I just want to piggyback off of that. You know, Don, I'm really proud of you. I'm proud that you have this platform, not to just help yourself, because that's therapy for you too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, and you're talking about it. A lot of people don't speak about mental illness. You know, that, you know, I can't even imagine. I know you were afraid, you know, to start out. You know, each time you do something, it's a challenge, you know, to express
Yeah.
it. You know, so I'm just proud that you've come this far where you're sharing your story and you're helping thousands of people.
Sure.
You know, this
Yeah.
is like a huge thing, you know, for you.
Thank
You know,
you
you've
guys.
always been one to accomplish things, always wanted to do stuff. You know, I know I do a lot of things, but I'm so proud of the things that you've done. You got two beautiful girls.
Absolutely.
You know,
My
Absolutely.
they're
babies.
doing their, yeah, they're doing their thing. And you know, I remember once when Lauren was graduating, you're like, what am I gonna do? Because we were both in the same situation with Justin. I'm like, oh my God, you know, we dedicated our lives to our children.
That's
And
right.
I'm like, shoot, he's graduating, so I got to figure out my stuff. You know what I mean? I always had stuff to do, but I always made myself available to my son to take him
Right.
everywhere I had to go. And you were the same way. And I'm like, Donna, you gotta figure stuff out because Lauren's gonna graduate. She's out of here.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I always remember that story that we talked about that. And I just want to say, you're blessed to have these two ladies on the phone as your sisters. And
And
I'm
you as
blessed to
well.
have you as my sister. I'm blessed.
Okay.
We've had a lot of good times, bad times, and I would never change anything.
Yeah. I
Me
was
too.
thinking about that earlier. Between the three of us, like the things that we talk about the good times, but we have all been, like the four of us together have been through some shit since we've been friends,
Yeah.
like losses and
Yes.
and
Woo.
And Donna's the reason why it's so
I was bobbleheading over here. Yes.
Child,
Yes.
child.
Donna used to have
Listen here. We can have a whole podcast on survival, boy. I tell you.
It
exactly.
would be a mini series.
Yeah, we almost got kicked off of a cruise boat.
Oh, listen,
Donna had me in some messy stuff, man.
that's
But
a
you
whole
know
nother.
what? We're 2024. To me, people are really telling their stories because I was just sharing with Don that lady. Who the fuck I married or just. It's like she's on every CB. I'm like every news platform. I mean, like we all listen. We all been with somebody we had no business being whether married or not married to. I should tell my damn story because I tell you, boy, it is
Tell
like.
it.
Well, listen.
The reason I'm saying that because she got a Netflix special in the making.
Wow.
Everything that he promised her, like all these companies, she's getting a new BMW. She's being
He's
flown
coming out now.
as they say. They flying her out to
Flued
Paris.
out.
Yeah, she's getting flew. How you say it? Flued out?
Flued out. She getting flued out.
I can't wait. She getting
Flued out.
the slang word, flown out. I'm like, wow, a makeover. She was on Tamara Hall show.
But this is the funny thing. Like they have a TV show called "Who the Bleep Did I Marry?" They have a TV show
It's on the
called
ID. Yes.
Yeah, they
on the
do.
You
ID.
know, I know ID channel. Yes.
I'm like, everybody's telling their story. I'm like, oh my God. So Donna, keep telling your story.
Tell your
Call
story.
us up again. We might,
Absolutely.
who knows? We might be on ABC on Roundtable telling because I got
I'm
stories for
saying.
days. For days. You know what I mean? For days.
You guys are
That's
going to get
super
that
funny.
chance because I have decided that probably for and not to say that anybody here has been through domestic violence. Well, I have, but like I am going to have a roundtable discussing relationships and men and things that you look for, and to keep it in the scope of mental illness. The men that we've chosen that are living with unhealed mental illnesses.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
You
and
need
I
that,
know that
sis.
people said that she was,
Absolutely.
different things, but think about the women that even if she changed one or two, maybe 10 women, telling her story, maybe help somebody leave. Like Michelle said, it takes time. I know I did. It took me fucking 30 years, but anyway, that's another show to leave. Hopefully, her story inspires somebody to take the step to, get out of a bad situation.
Right.
But that is
To
another
see it before they get into it. That's one of the things I hope these people
Preventive.
start
And that's
doing.
why
Yes.
that's why younger women need to be a part. We're all in our age group, but we need to include younger women. Include Tony.
Right.
I mean, like saying,
yeah, you gotta, like, women
and that's
don't pay
why
attention to the signs. Yeah.
No.
why this is important, because today we showed, number one, we showed sisterhood, and loyalty and trust, and number two, we all shared some weaknesses, and so that also showed that we're done with the Black woman superwoman bullshit. We are letting everything down, and we are telling our stories, even if it's 5 minutes by 5 minutes, and we're showing people that it's okay to have setbacks. It's okay to have weaknesses. but as long as you have your circle, you're going to get through it. You're going to get through it.
Right,
So
right.
I'm going to say that I appreciate you guys taking the time out. I will plug that Michelle has her own podcast, the Walt Weekly show, that I will add. I think it's already on my website. You guys have had me on there a couple of times, so you
Yeah.
can go listen to them if you want to listen to information affecting the Black community also. But I want to say this, and I probably said it a million times already. I love you guys so much, like so much that I may not tell you every single day, but I love you so much. I talk about you all the time. You guys, listen, you guys have all met, but even before you met, you knew who the fuck everybody was because I talk about everybody so much. And so thank you for loving me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for not judging me. Thank you for being the best aunties in the world. And thank you for being today's co-host.
Thank you, sis, for your friendship.
Thank you.
All attest that none of us have. It's a very rare thing to have friendships this long.
It is. It
Absolutely.
is. And we're doing it. We're doing it.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you
guys,
so much. Love
thank
you
you.
all.
Love you.
Likewise. Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful week.
Peace. Stay blessed, everybody.
Don't hang up.
Bye-bye.
Don't hang up.
Me?
So thank you guys for listening to our show. We went a little long today, but you're not going to forget this show. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my sisters and I kick it around. I told you it was going to be interesting. It will be up this week. It is Women's History Month, so please celebrate the women in your life. These women are my history, and I was so excited to celebrate them. Follow me at divawithdepression.com and on all platforms, and I hope you find some peace. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Sometimes realize that